Morning guys, so today I've shown you all sorts how to refeed a sour. I've shown you the normal production of what we do for sourdough, for white bloomers, white brown multi-seed. You know, we've covered all that side of it. I think what we haven't covered is actually how do we mix it? You know, how do we actually put it together? So we've got a very special month coming up next month, September. So we as a business, we are planning you know, to indulge, shall we say, in what we call Sourdough September. Alright, so I'm attempting to produce a sourdough that will last a little bit longer. So today's sourdough that I'm going to make, it's made with wheat flour, it's made with rye flour, it's got some wholemeal in there. I'm also going to add some vegetable fat to it to try and give it a softer eat, to try and extend that shelf life just by an extra day or two. Alright, so what do we need? So we start off, we've got some salt in here, we've got some vegetable fat. So we need to add our flour. So as I said, we've got 3 different types of flour, and every baker, everyone thinks that we've got all the recipes up here. And yeah, to a degree we have, but even we have to follow recipes when you're making bread. So strong bread flour, 5.8 kilos, only the best. So this is 100% Canadian wheat, it's all the way from Manitoba in Canada. We've got 5.8 kilos of wheat flour, got a bit of wholemeal flour in there next, so 500 grams of that because a little bit. Put some white rye in it. I use a scoop to pick this back up because it's bloody heavy. So that's our dry ingredients. We've got some salt in there, we've got some vegetable fat, we've got 3 different types of flour. We're going to put that straight into the mixer. Make sure it's all out. So over here we've got plain water, we've got some rye, some sour that's not been mixed in properly. We've got some rye sour in there, as you can see, and we've also got some white sour in there as well. So it's a mixture of the two. I use the white sour for strength, I use the rye sour for flavour. It does give me a little bit of strength, but not very much. So most of that comes from the white. But the flavour that you get from making a sour out of rye flour is phenomenal. So I'm just going to mix that down. I'm going to go 3 minutes on slow, and I'm just going to mix it for 3 minutes on fast. Now, for all you bakers out there, you're going to, oh, it's going to be undermixed that. It's not, I promise you. You'll see when it's finished mixing. The reason we only mix it for a short period of time is because the sours, over here, the yellow tubs, they were mixed yesterday. So that's had basically 18 to 20 hours to sit, rest, relax, soften in the water. Right? Doesn't take anywhere near as much mixing. So if we were mixing on a table now, we'd sort of call that like the flocking stage, where all the ingredients are starting to come together. But what we're waiting for is we want those ingredients to fully combine, and then we want it to start pulling away from the mixing arm on the inside. Once it starts to pull away and it starts pulling up from the base of the bowl, that's what we call clearing the mix. Yeah. So once you've cleared the mix, you'll see bakers doing things like window tests and things like that. But I've been doing this now for 38 years. I think I know when a mix is ready and when it isn't. All right. So come back to me in 3 minutes time, and you'll see exactly what to, because once it's been mixed, we're then going to leave it to rest. All right. And I'll explain a little bit about that shortly. See you in a minute, guys. Alright, so as you can see, that's So 3 minutes on slow, 3 minutes on fast speed, or second speed. If you'll have a look at the dough now, you'll see it's all starting to pull away from the base of the mixing board. I'll just switch it back on a sec, you'll see it. You see it's actually pulling away, it's almost sliding around it. Now that tells me that the dough is ready. So if you have a look at this here now, and if we mix this with just a tiny little bit of flour, and you see people doing this, and the more they do it, the more you stretch it, you see, and you put it up to the light, it's what they call a window test. And I could stretch that for a lot longer, that's good, but you can actually see the gluten strands, the gluten formation, you know, from where you've developed it in the mixer. And to me that looks pretty damn good. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take it out, put it into a greased oiled tub. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to grab a lid because we don't want the top of the dough to start skinning over. So this now is going to sit here for exactly 4 hours. On the hour, every hour, we're going to give it a fold. Right, for those of you that don't understand what a fold is, it's basically you grab the dough because it'll be relaxed, you start to stretch it, bring it to the middle, start to stretch it, and you pull the whole thing over like that, like that, like that, and then turn the whole thing over, nice and bonny. And we do that on the hour every hour. So that's going to stand there now for 4 hours. Come back, see me in a couple of hours, or 4 hours, and we're going to start to scale it and mould it up. They're all going to be done by hand. We're going to do one as a baguette, we're going to do one as a huge basket bread. So I'll show you when I'll get them out shortly. So yeah, we're going to do one, it's 1.1 kilos in weight. The other one's going to be 400 gram dough, done to baguette. Right, so come back, see me shortly, and we'll see what it's like producing it. Okay, bye. Right, welcome back guys. So it's now 4 hours later. So if you remember, we mixed the dough, put it into a tub. I told you I was going to put a fold in it on the hour every hour, which we have done. And if you have a look, when we put the dough in the tub, it came to about there in the tub. Right, if you want to have a look, that's where it's up to now. So you can see just how much it's grown in 4 hours time. And now, before where it was reasonably firm, it's now reasonably soft because it's had a chance to do its thing. I'm going to empty it out onto the table now. So there we go. Nice. You can see just how soft that is now, so it's very workable. Now the big difference between working with sourdough and working with normal bread, and that difference is obviously the ingredients that goes in it. You know, there's no commercial yeast, there's no funnies go in there. It's basically flour, water, salt and the mother culture, and in this instance I've added some vegetable fat to try to improve the eating quality. But what we want to try to avoid is knocking all the air out of it. Now when you're making normal bread, you'll see bakers on the bench and they're giving it this, and they'll mould it up round and they'll leave it to rest for 5-10 minutes, and then they'll come back to it again, and then they'll mould it up, and they're moulding it as tight as they can get it without ripping, so that they get this nice close crumb structure. Well, because it's sourdough, everyone knows sourdough, rubbery structure, quite an open texture inside. So, you know, to get that is obviously it's the amount of fermentation that you have. It's also the amount of time that you leave it and the amount of water that you put in. That's what creates the holes, basically. So what we're going to do now is we're going to scale this off. We're going to do some in a long basket. We're going to do some in a round basket. We're going to do some on a baguette wire. Okay? So first of all I'm going to scale it, and then I'll show you the difference between the moulding, what I was talking about. And it's the big difference when you're doing sourdough. So we're going to start off looking for 1.1 kilos. Let's see how close I can get. Oh, get that. 10 grams out. So there's my first 6. I'm just going to move this over here so I've got a little bit of space to work. Just going to take that out to the way. So I'm going to fill these baskets up first. So I'm just going to give them a light dusting with flour. You can use any flour, any white flour for this. Rye flour if you wish. And that's when we take it back out of the basket tomorrow morning. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the loaf of bread will just tip out. So we've got the dough piece here. It's not been moulded. Now, if I was to make a normal loaf of bread, I would be doing something like this. Let me show you. So I'll be rolling it up, moulding it up. Like that, knocking all the air out of it, leaving it over there to rest for 5 or 10 minutes before moulding it again into the desired shape. This time, notice, I haven't done. All I've done is I've cut it out, left it on the table, nice and gently, and that's as much as I want to do. Now, all I'm doing is it's more of a shaping than a moulding, because I want to try and keep those holes inside the bread. And then I put it into my basket, notice, upside down. So my seam, which is relatively loose, is on the top, because when it comes to baking it, we take it out of the basket, we tip it out onto a tray, so the seam then becomes on the bottom. So same again, turn it over, just fold your sides in ever so slightly, and then hands in a V, and just rock it backwards and forwards. No pressure at all. Turn it upside down, straight into the basket. So we'll just do these 6, a little bit tighter. Okay, so that's the first 6 done. Done, dusted, out the way. Make sure that they're kept separate so that as they prove up overnight, they don't stick to each other. Right, so notice the difference with these baskets over here. It's got the cloth. It's just a linen cloth that's elasticated, sticks to the outside, the inside of the basket. This time we don't have the cloth, so this is more of a traditional. So it's the rattan baskets. So literally all you do, put a little bit of flour in, and then if you look, just turn it round in your hands. And if you look inside here, you can see it's all ridged. Yeah. So what we don't want is we don't want the bread to stick. We want the pattern, but we don't want the bread to stick in it. So we just flour it, turn it, turn it, turn it, tip out the excess. You've got the nice flour there. That in turn will stick to the bread, which will give you a nice, beautiful pattern on your outside of your finished loaf. That's that done. So this time we're only looking for 920 grams, or miles away there. And again. Do the full one. So this time, different kind of moulding. So before we were moulding up a bloomer. So this time we want to mould it up as a round. And exactly the same principle. Don't need to cover the table in flour or anything like that. So I'm just going to roll gently, turn it round, seam facing me. Roll, turn it round. Roll, fold, underneath, thumbs underneath, tilt it in, we get a nice round. You can actually see, if you come in closely James, you can see the air bubbles on the surface of the bread there. That's exactly what you're looking for. Because it's sourdough, we're not looking for something that's, perfect in shape. It's got the same crumb structure. We're looking for something that's slightly different. So, nice and easy, very little pressure. Hold it in, turn it upside down. Seam on the top. So again, we empty it out of the basket. There is our full round sourdough. Right, so now we move on to the third kind. So we're only going to scale at 460 grams this time. So so this time we're doing a baguette, so slightly different. Again, if you were doing standard, French baguettes, again you'd be moulding it up, leaving it to rest, giving it a good 10-15 minutes, anything up to sort of 6, 7, 8 hours. You can put it in your fridge overnight. But this time, all we're going to do, nice and light. You can see how soft and pliable the dough is, the ease in which I can make a French baguette. See how easy that is? No pressure. Getting nice shape. Normally, if you was doing these, you would have to do it stage by stage. So you would roll it out. I'll show you. You would roll it out. So you sort of do this, and then you go to your next one, do it again. You go to your next one, and you do it again. And you might do, 200, 300 like that. And then you'd have them all lined up on benches, on tables, and then you'd go back to the beginning and start again. So then failed to tell you is this bread is actually it's a promotion that we're going to be running next month. I'm sure an awful lot of people have heard of they have something for everything these days, don't they? But Sourdough September. Alright, so there's lots of sourdough out there, there's lots of different types, different flavours, and there's lots of very good sourdough out there as well. To try and come up with something that's just even slightly different from the norm, to be able to promote it and market it and get it out there, and we'll put it in our shops, we'll sell it to our fleet customers, we'll sell it to our wholesale customers, hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll make an awful lot of money out of it, hopefully. But like I said, this contains the vegetable fat, and it's a mashup of different flours, so it's something slightly different. Yeah, there's nothing new in this world. All we're ever doing is reinventing the wheel time and time again. But don't forget, all this bread that we're doing now, that's all you could buy 100 years ago. And so all we're doing is reinventing the wheel time after time after time. Right, all the bread's moulded up. All I've got to do now is we're going to wrap it up in cellophane, and then we're going to go put it into the fridge, and we're going to leave it in the fridge until tomorrow morning, around about 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So it's now half past 1 in the afternoon, so it's going to go in the fridge till 1:30 tomorrow morning. It's 12, 8 o'clock, 7 hours. So that's around about 18 and a half, 19 hours in the fridge. Alright, straight from the fridge, bang it straight into the oven. Alright, come back tomorrow, I'll show you what the bread looks like. Morning guys, so here we are the morning after. So if you remember, we put this bread, the September sourdough, we put this into the fridge last night, yesterday afternoon in fact, around about 1:30ish, 2 o'clock I do believe. So here we are ready to put it into the oven now. So it's been in the fridge, wrapped up in cellophane, to stop it from skinning and drying out. So we now need to just get it emptied onto the trays. So if you remember, these are the big 1.1 kilo. If you look closely, James, you'll see it's all nice and smooth. There's no pattern because the cloth, the linen cloth, that's that's elasticated cloth on the outside, that stops you from actually getting the pattern, but it protects it, so we just get a nice smooth floured ball. If you look, you can see I'm actually handling it quite sort of robustly, considering I'm handling dough, and that's because the dough is freezing cold. Not freezing, but it's around about 4 to 5 degrees, so you can pick it up, you can do basically do what you want with it, because it's almost hard. So these are the 920 gram balls that we did. Again, if you look now, remember we floured the inside of the basket, so if you look at the bread now, you can see these beautiful rings, you know, that go around. It's just aesthetic, that's all it is. And then we finished off with the baguettes. Now, baguettes, we're just going to put just a little bit flour over the top of these. Nice and even. Get the knife out, so we're still going to cut it to release the pressure to make them look nice. So with this one, it's just 4 straight diagonal cuts. Right, so we're going straight down. Try and get them as even as possible. Now this one, do something a little bit different on each one. So we'll cut like that, like that, like that. Now cutting it like that, that actually, it'll change the shape of the loaf into a rugby ball because of the way the cuts are. And then we've got something like a hashtag. Nice. We'll do one that's just a straight, what people associate with around sourdough. And then we'll do one deep cut down either side. Now the difference, so we're now cutting baguettes. So in the traditional French way of cutting them, they would use an actual razor blade which has got a curve on it. So we try to replicate. Now, if you notice my knife now is sideways. It's not like that, it's like that. So what I'm doing, if you look there, you can see if I lift that ever so slightly, I'm cutting underneath the surface. Because what I'm looking for is a nice rip. I want it to split wide open. So, as you can see, nice wide split, but just underneath the surface instead of cutting straight down. Okay, so straight into the oven. So now, so we're baking that around about 235 degrees, and it's going to be in there for about 35 to 40 minutes. The baguettes on the side will be around about 28-32 minutes. So close the door, press start, magical oven automatically steams it for me. Alright, so you've got plenty of steam, lots and lots and lots of steam. If you don't get that steam, you'll get a dry appearance and it will split in places where you don't want it to. Right, so we don't want that. We want it to split where we've done the cut. That's the whole idea behind putting a split on it. Alright, so 30-35 minutes, the bigger loaves, possibly 40, 42, 43. Come back and see me then, and we'll show you what the end product looks, fingers crossed. We'll show you what the end product looks like, and hopefully it'll be banging. Alright, speak to you soon guys. Okay guys, so that's now been in for 35 minutes. Dressing the baguettes. Remember what I said about the cutting? So we're looking for this nice spring, which is exactly what I've got. Look at that. A little bit on the one side. Yeah, so again. Nice, look at them. So you can see the 4 different cuts. So we've got the cut either side, we've got the standard, the traditional hashtag. If you have a look there, it just shows that, you know, even the best of us get it wrong sometimes. Slightly underproofed. Could probably have done with maybe another hour, because you can see where you know, it's become slightly disjointed, and it's ripped down one side and it's not ripped on the other. But you see what I mean about the rugby ball? So it started off as a round, but because of the type of cut that I put on, if you have a look at it from that angle, it turns it into a rugby ball. So it's a nice oval shape. These, look at them. those another few minutes. Yeah, so overall, I'm quite pleased with those. Not bad for a first attempt. So this is going to be our, hopefully, fingers crossed, our September sourdough. So it's, like I say, hopefully it'll a much nicer eat because of the vegetable fat that I've put in there. A nice, softer eat as well. But I've still managed to retain that beautiful crust on the outside, you know, which everybody associates with sourdough. So we'll let it go cold. I'll take these out in another couple of minutes. We'll allow it to go cold. We'll put a knife through them. We'll have a look to see what the crumb structure is on the inside, and we'll take it from there. Alright guys, so September sourdough, white, rye, wholemeal, made with white and rye mother culture, and I'm sorry, but in my opinion, that's pretty much sourdough at its finest. Speak to you soon guys. Right guys, so here we are. We're finally at the end, the finished product. Nice and cool. All that's left to do now is put a knife through it. Let's have a look, see what it looks like inside, shall we? So we'll start off with the round one. You can listen to that crunch. I'm not going to cut all the way through because my boss will go bananas on my wooden table. So if we have a look at that there now. Oh, we can smell, you can really smell the sour. You've got that nice sort of rubbery texture, and the crust, the crust on the outside is just superb. What we're looking for here, you can see the crust there on the outside. We're looking for something that's not too thick, because don't forget, it's not been baked on the sole, it's been baked on a tray. So we've got a nice, you know, thickness of crust on the outside. It's still nice and crunchy, but it's beautiful and soft on the inside with this nice rubbery, you know, sort of slightly open textured. Because of the vegetable fat that we put in here, that's going to close your crumb up considerably. So that's why it doesn't look like your traditional sourdough. But if you could smell, you know, if we had smell-o-vision now, that smells absolutely amazing. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Let's have a look at this one. That is a great structure. Again, beautiful crust. Smells amazing. Possibly about as good as it gets. So then we've got to we'll cut this the hard way. We'll go straight down the centre. So it's a little bit more difficult to cut this one because of the way in which I cut the bread initially. So because it's only got that thin sliver of a cut which opens up, that becomes quite hard. But we have a look, open this out, look at that. Wow. Absolutely fantastic, amazing. You can see the fermentation, you can smell that sour, it's very strong. That's because we use the wheat sour and the rye sour. You see that almost sort of dark greyish type colour. That's the mixture of wheat, wholemeal and rye flours. So yeah, I'm absolutely over the moon with those. Just imagine having that served, you know, for your chippy tea on a Thursday night, and making yourself a good old-fashioned fish and chip butty on good old-fashioned English sourdough bread. Alright, speak to you soon guys. Bye.